Okay, good morning. This is Karen with Veronica's Tarot. I'll move my stuff out of the way here. So there's two different ways I use the tarot to tell stories. One way is to literally pick a card and then write about it, like literally use it as my a subject for creative writing. If I'm doing writing journals or that kind of thing, because I do some creative writing. The other thing that I was taught in a workshop was when we're journaling on a daily basis, at the end, like every day you pull a card, and then at the end of the week, you go, okay, let's tell the story. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the journaling quickly, because the most important thing is about telling the story. So I'm going to have a pitch. There's a picture up here. So I have Eight of Wands as my Monday card. And so if I were to journal on this card in particular, I'd be focused on the pinpoint where it's going. I'm going to take a look at it because I want to do this for real. So when I see this card, the first thing I do is go right to the center. So I feel like it's really pinpointing something for me. And I feel like with that, it makes me feel it. It makes me feel like I'm gonna learn something, or it makes me kind of feel like that's what I feel like. It's gonna. I almost in this card. I don't know why, but I'm feeling like I'm gonna have this idea, and it's gonna be a really good idea. And I think that's just the way it looks to me. The first color I noticed was the pink at the top. I did notice that right away, but I feel like there's just this very huge endpoint. So pinpointing area. Now, if I take a moment and really like get into this, how does it make me feel? It does make me feel like there's something that I need to look at. That's what I feel like. Um, it does kind of make me feel like going into space a little bit, so there is a little travel feeling there. It also makes me very excited. This card, for some reason, has always made me very excited. When I see the Eight of Wands, I get excited immediately. Um, I don't. I kind of taste candy. I almost taste bubble gum when I'm. I don't know why, but I'm tasting bubble gum. I don't have a smell, and I would take the time to really see if I do smell something or taste or hear. I don't hear anything either, but it does kind of remind me of fireworks as well. So that's what you do, like with each card. How does this make you feel? What do you see first? And doing that every day, just pulling one card, asking spirits or universe or however you ask, um, what do I need to know today, and then use that as your journal. And it's not necessarily what you get out of it when you're journaling won't necessarily be everything you need to know today, but it allows you to really focus on one card. And what that has brought to me is when I'm doing a reading, I always am feeling something like, because I've practiced this so much, that when I see cards, I feel a certain way. I don't always see or hear or smell or taste, but sometimes I do. And I think that's just the next level for me. Like the feeling is the intuition, like that's your intuition. How does this make you feel? But when I got an itch, but I do believe like every day. So I have that you do that. It just if you just practice that every day, and it literally only takes a few minutes. And what I do is I have a little form that I write down what the card is, the date. But before I even write that down, I have an area to say how what's the first thing I see, what's the first color I notice, what is the how does it make me feel? Do I taste anything, smell anything? Do I hear anything? And then overall, just a quick summary of the card in general. You can do whatever you want. Like if you're not feeling it, that's okay too. Like that's okay. That's part of it. Like that's part of saying, it's not making me feel anything. I'm just not going anywhere with this card. But I think that that's what leads us to being able to really dig deep and read tarot more intuitively than just reading off the meanings. I always use the meanings no matter what. So every day I do that, and then for 5 days I pull it. So up at the top you'll see I have the Eight of Wands, Five of Cups. Let me get this in good light. Strength, Judgment, and Queen of Cups. So at the end of the week, what I do is I take these cards and then I tell the story of these cards, starting from the Eight of Wands to the Queen of Cups, and using the cards as they lay. Okay, so this is what I would do, and you can follow with the cards up at the top. This is such a good practice. So, first off, I see this idea. I have a spark of an idea. It's coming in and it's coming in quick, and I'm very pinpointed on that idea. It's it's almost got so much attention behind it that I feel like it, it almost wants to explode. But when I can't like pinpoint it, so I get very disappointed, and it feels like I'm almost watching that energy just kind of just funnel down. I have all of these ideas, but nothing's happening, and I feel almost destitute. I just feel like, how do I get this all to come together? What do I need to do? And I'm not sure, but I do know that I need to be strong, and I do need to be strong. But I'm only being strong because people are telling me to be strong, and I need to take care of this, though. I need to take care of this, and I need to really show what I really am, and really, really dig deep into who I truly am. Am I strong? Am I not strong? But I do have things that are counting on me. And if I have things that are counting on me, I need to be strong. And the more I think about that, and the more I deal with the being strong, I really feel like I can let go and allow myself to really let go and be me. Allow myself to be free, free to be me, free to, really do what I want to do, because that Eight of Wands over there is, it really got my attention, and I feel like it's gone away. But I can't focus on that. I need to focus on who I am and what I need to be. And when I do that, I'm going to find the joy in my heart, and I'm going to be able to bring that to others as well. And I'll be able to be easier. Things will seem smoother. I will be able to maybe go with the flow a little bit, and really be able to, really kind of embark on what I am and who I am, and love myself for all of those things. Okay, so there you have the story. I will tell you, when I'm doing this, I record my voice saying it and speaking it. You can absolutely write it. We all do different things, but one of the reasons why I was led to YouTube is because I talk through stuff. I've been given tarot readings where they type it out, and I've tried to type out tarot readings, but my mind's working faster than that, and I can't keep up. So when I talk, I feel like I can keep up. So that's one thing that I do, is I truly voice this out and speak it out. And I'm just going to tell you, I told you kind of about the Eight of Wands, but when I looked at this, I saw like my dreams going down in here. Like, it felt like I was really just, all my dreams were just going away, and I was watching them go away. That was hard. I do say I felt very hard when I watched that. And then the strength, the reason why I said I feel like I have to take care of somebody is because of the lamb kept catching my attention. And I kept focusing on that lamb, but I focused on her two different faces. Like, are we showing our strength? I've talked about this in some of my readings, but are we showing our strength? And who are we really? And I find that this card talks about finding who you are really, not just being strong, but then that lamb, the little lamb here, just reminded me I need to take care of somebody. I don't know why, but that's what I felt like. And then it dawned on me that maybe I need to take care of me. And the reason why I felt like this was saying that I was going to let go and be able to be myself. And this picture, I love this picture when I read this out of this deck, because I do feel like that. Like, she's just saying, I'm going to be me. I'm going to let go and just, let all of those thoughts go about what people are thinking, how people are thinking, how people feel about you. It doesn't matter. Like, this to me was all about that. So that's where that came in, and that's how I feel. And that's why it's so important if you journal them to begin with, and then at the end of the week, tell the story. And then the Queen of Cups, just, I mean, literally, I just felt good. I felt good. I just felt like I could take care of people, which is the lamb here that I kept going back to. And then, how just talking about it, just talking it through. And I think it's a really good practice. So for those of you who are learning or trying to learn the tarot, this is huge. You can practice the meanings till the end of time, and you can look them up in the book, and you can do all of those things and do it, because all of those things teach you things. You can watch other channels, because those give you ideas too. And because sometimes, you'll go, God, this card makes me feel this way, but the meaning is this. And then you listen to another tarot reader and you're going, that's it. That's what I was trying to get at. And I think that that's really important. But doing these stories, you're telling your own story. You could be telling someone else's story. I did my own because I'm doing this for me, right? I don't want to pretend like I'm doing it for someone else. So that's my story. And actually, as I started doing it, it really resonated. Not only is this a good practice, and now the more I'm thinking about it, not only is this a good practice to read tarot, it's also really good practice for self-healing. Because as I was reading this, I was realizing that I'm going through some stuff here, right? I mean, I have someone in my life that I keep an eye on all of the time that I would think would bring me joy, but he hasn't been around. So I just kind of watched that go down the tubes. And then I realized that I can't just let myself go down the tubes, because I've got people that depend on me. Or this really resonated a lot. So, and the more I spoke it out, the more I spoke out my feelings. So if you're a writer, write it. If you're a talker, record it. You don't have to video record it. Get a voice, download a voice recorder app, or if you have one on your phone. But practicing that fluidity of how the cards are moving forward in your reading and how they make you feel is huge. And when you're reading for someone else, so okay, I was reading for myself, so I was going on how I feel about, I was really kind of digging into myself. But when I'm reading, like for collective, before I even start the video, I am getting in the mode that this is for someone else. This reading is for someone else, someone who needs to hear it. And that's what I always say to myself, so that I'm reading and picking up their feelings. Again, that's why collective readings to me are not going to resonate with everybody. They're going to resonate with some people. And some people, I believe, will come across it when they need to hear it. I have stopped watching tarot readers. I only watch a couple of them now, only because actually one of the things I don't like is when everything's always hunky-dory at the end of a reading. I mean, even when we ask universe to give us, the only time it shouldn't be, or it should be hunky-dory is, I've watched one guy, he even said, this column is the good stuff, and he's asking the spirit to say, here, like, give us the good stuff. Even if it's a negative card, there's something good behind it. The other thing too, while I'm sitting here recording, and I know this is long-winded, is I pull a card every day to tell me what's the best thing that's going to happen to me today. And one day I got the 9 of Swords, and I thought, how could the 9 of Swords be a good thing? Because I have anxiety issues anyway. So it comes up, I'm like, okay, how is this a good thing? Well, it comes up, I was starting to get really, and I put it aside. Like, I don't think about it all day. I put it aside, but something happened where I was really getting anxious about something, and I hadn't heard back from somebody, and I was really upset about it. And I reached out, and I was going to reach out to this person, and then I went, no, I'm not going to. And I talked to my daughter about it, and then she brought something to light about, Mom, like, just let it go, let it be, use it as a lesson. If that person doesn't respond, then, ever, but some people don't respond right away. What if this person was busy over the weekend, or, blah, 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 blah. Well, the next thing I know, that afternoon, I got a call from that person telling me how busy he was the weekend. The person was. So, and then you're going, okay, well, duh, Karen, like, just because you don't have anything to do. And that's a lot of it, like my anxiety comes from just literally me not having enough to do. But anyway, that kind of thing, then I went back and the reason why the anxiety was good is I learned something from it. I learned a big lesson. Like, you were getting anxious for no reason. You were making yourself anxious. And it really, like, when I looked at it later that day, because I go back and revisit those cards at night and then try to play it out. Like, okay, why was that the best card? Because I'm always trying to learn my tarot. And I went, oh, I learned a lesson from it. So that's another thing to do, is say, okay, what's the best thing that's going to happen to me today? Pull the card, take a picture of it, write it down, whatever. I usually take a picture of it because the visual for me is important. And then I'll go back to it in the evening, or even just early evening or sometime, and I'll look at it and go, how was this? Or the next day, how did that pan out, and why was that the best thing that happened to me? And then sometimes it makes sense, and honestly, sometimes it doesn't. Like, I can't put it together, but it's a good practice because I don't try to read it. I just pull it. What's the best thing? Pull it. Okay. If it's a really weird card, I might ask for a clarifier and then move on, but I don't focus on it. It's not a reading. I'm not trying to do divination. I'm trying to learn at the end of the day. Another tarot reader once told me to pull a card at the end of the day and say, how was the day? And then try to identify how that fit in. And these all make sense to do these things. So anyway, there you have it. That's telling the story. I'm going to do another one, but it's literally just creative, like using it for creative writing, because that also does help. If you're doing any kind of self-help work, that can also help you. I feel like the tarot just gives me good ideas to write about, because when I can't think of an idea and I pull a card or pull a couple cards, I'm like, oh. And what you can do too is pull a card on the subject of the story. I'll go into that. I'll do a whole nother video on that. So I'll do that in a second, but I'll post it later. So, okay, take care. Have a beautiful day.